what happens? When did it get dark? What did that look like? So, I guess we'll go from the University of Miami, where they do not have any drugs or alcohol. Right. It's like a treatment center.
I got there and I was like a kid in a candy store. I'd come from a very sheltered life because, as I said, that baton twirling, helped me get through each day growing up. And I didn't start it really until I was 12 years old. So I get to Miami and I'm on my own really for the first time in my life. And it was great. It was wonderful. I could party, I could baton twirl. I had so many friends. But I really had to compartmentalize because I had to maintain a cume. I had to do well in school. I had 5 hours of baton practice a day, but I was off to the races. I really was. And I ended up spending 4 years in Miami. They scouted the campus for a baton twirler for a movie down there.
Oh, wow.
There were 52 girls. My band director said, you really have to audition. I'm thinking, oh my God, a movie? Please. And I did. I auditioned for this movie that was filmed in Florida. The name of the movie was Porky's, which everyone knows that movie.
Oh my God,
okay.
no.
And here I am, center stage, twirling fire in this movie. 2 batons.
That's you?
3 batons.
I'm sorry. I didn't even know this about you.
Yes, and that was my claim to fame. But you know what? The drugs and alcohol really, really took off at that point. And
so what would you say were the toughest challenges for you at that? I mean, right now, were you struggling with fame? What did that look like? You say off to the races. And explain, because I don't know if people understand what that means.
Off to the races with the drugs and the alcohol. And, any feeling that I could feel to take me out of feeling myself was really what I wanted, because I loved that feeling of not feeling. And you try and do that with 2 batons in your hand. It was very difficult. But I had to maintain, I managed. It was cocaine. It was a lot of everything. And my dad, who I miss terribly, and that's another piece of my story, he knew something was up and he came down there and pulled me out of college and took me back to New Jersey. After the movie, so I spent 5 years in Florida, went back and went to school in New Brunswick at Rutgers, graduated from Rutgers, but I lived back in my house with my helicopter mother.
Oh God, at that age.
Which was not easy. So at that point, you leave somewhere there's drugs and alcohol, you find it elsewhere. It's just a different environment. But fast forward, I graduated college, and I worked in special education at first.
For high school students or for?
No, actually it was K through 12, but I did special ed. And I did the homebound program for the school district where children that were cerebral palsy or couldn't get into the class, I would go ahead and whether it was thank you notes that they had to write or work with them. At that point, I knew sign language, which I really don't know anymore. But I would teach them at their homes, and it was very
amazing.
Rewarding. Yeah, it was a gift. And after, of course, living back at home, just to fast forward, I was dating and I met my husband, and people say to him, how did you meet? And he says, on a blind date. Boy, was I blind. He jokes about that. But we're married 37 years, and from the minute we met and married, that's really when the big problem, and when I lost my dad 7 weeks after I was married.
Oh,
and I was
sorry.
very close with him.
I'm so sorry.
I was Daddy's little girl, and the problem here was I never got to say goodbye. He never woke up. So for years, I walked around with that. I felt I had that guilt, that sadness, and that I was not able to say goodbye to him. I was 27 when he died, and he was 56. But there was like a piece of me that was just, I was broken. I was a broken little girl.
So you didn't get to process any of that grief?
No, not until I went to the most incredible treatment center in the world after 12 rehab.